You're listening to another Geek Pride podcast.
Hi everybody, Matt Geary for the Geek Pride cast on this Monday Eve, and I have the pleasure to be with David Foy.
Heyo.
And Bevan Cledworthy.
Hi guys.
What is up, guys? What is up?
My faith in humanity.
Really? What's happened,
Yeah.
Bevan? What's going on to make you have lack of faith in humanity?
We just well, the lack of humanity is obviously a political thing, so let's not dive into that. Can we, Dave? What about you? Deflection.
Oh, very, very well deflected. I have to say, very well. No, everything's good. Everything's good. Yeah, good. Long Monday, but yeah, glad to be at home now and on the podcast. Yeah, good. Everything's good.
Two in a row, Dave.
How about you, Matt? Oh, exactly. I'm trying to get more
row.
involved.
Yeah.
Get more involved. I get.
Well, we got Mr. Cox, a regular stream watcher, it seems these days. Mr. Cox, entertain me. So we're here to entertain you, sir. And because I got this on my chat box thing here that we've got now, so we're streaming currently at this moment in time on Facebook, on YouTube, and on Twitch for this.
Awesome.
So, and we can get all the conversations in this little box, which is here if anybody's gonna see it in the thing. This is our little box, and you know what? I might put it up there so people can see it and shiz. And there we go. Yeah.
Perhaps next week, when I'm not, just home from work, in a pair of shorts, surrounded by cats, I will maybe go on cam.
I might cam with you, man. I might cam with you. Yes.
Nice. Fortunately, I can't do the camera thing. One, my internet connection is really bad, and two, I've realised that the perfect distance for me is from my microphone is, where the pop filter is.
Yeah.
There's a little tiny plastic nub on top, and if my nose is just touching it, I'm at just the right distance, but it does look like I'm sort of Eskimo kissing it, and it's like a compulsion. I'm just sort of going from side to side to side. My nose is getting quite sore, actually. I should probably stop. Or get some Vaseline. I don't know.
Can somebody do me a quick favour before we carry on? Can somebody just check the Facebook stream just to see that this is working? Because my internet's been playing silly buggers recently, and I just want to make sure it's all going right.
Okay, let's have a look. So how would I find it?
Just go on Facebook. If we're there, it's not. Hopefully, it won't be juddery and stuff. Like I said, we're streaming to 3 things at once at this moment in time, so I don't know if that's going to have an effect on stuff. So we'll see. We'll see. For people who are listening to this podcast after the event, you'll be like, "What the hell are they doing now? What are you doing?"
It looks to be okay from what I can see.
Yeah.
Oh, good. I was just about to start spelling out my own internet, my Facebook password.
Yeah.
And so
It's not.
There's Mr. Gary on cam, surrounded by his man cave. Yep. Everything looks good.
Okay,
I
cool.
can see you.
Seems to work. Matthew Woodlard. Cheers, dude. Thank you very much. I love technology. I love it. I've got all these, because I've got my 3 screens on at the minute, and I'm sitting there kind of going, right, I've got my Audacity here, I've got my OBS thing, I've got my little sort of chat window so I can tell if, who's sort of messaging me from where and stuff. I can tell who's watching, on Twitch or on YouTube or on Facebook and stuff. Yeah, brilliant, yeah. So it's all happy days, all working. Anyway,
worth the money,
yeah, totally worth the money. Well, the thing is, right, because we use this thing called Restream. So anybody who's listening to this, or anybody who's watching it at this moment in time, Restream is basically a way to stream to multiple platforms at once. Now, it's free initially, and we can stream to Twitch and to YouTube, free. But if you want to go to Facebook, it costs you. But it only costs $8 a month, so I thought it was worth it. Because considering we stream quite regularly now, different things, I thought it was worth it. So that's what we're doing now. And it seems to work. So yeah, so okie dokie, all working. So right, yeah, who's going to start us off with something they want to talk about then?
Well, Matt, you did mention it before we came on. Twin Peaks.
Yes.
The big story of this week. I think we're in that sort of bad position where none of us have actually seen the new episode, so we're just sort of
I was
speculating on it.
literally just about to sit down. All I got, like 5 seconds before I realized the shit, I was like, "Oh my god, I'm meant to be on a podcast now." I was like 5 seconds, and I was like, "Right, let's have a watch of this."
It was exactly the same.
And it was basically Agent Cooper sitting there in black and white talking to the guy who played Lurch in the new Addams Family films. Sorry, I say new, but the more recent ones. And he was talking forwards, not backwards, but it was sort of in a backwards sort of way. So I think what David Lynch must have done is got them to talk backwards and then played it forwards, and a sort of kind of,
Well, that's what they did with the original.
I know,
but
with
the original episode.
but
The stuff in the Black Lodge was done in that sort of sense. It was all done backwards and then, played forwards.
Right. Bevan, you've never seen Twin Peaks, have you?
I have never seen it. This is all gibberish.
And are you aware of David Lynch films at all?
Sort of vaguely.
So
Yeah.
like Mulholland Drive and The Lost Highway, and Dave, name some more films by him that I
Dune,
Dune,
Elephant Man,
yeah.
Razorhead.
Yeah, all those ones. Yeah, they're always sort of messed up. They're always kind of screwy, and they mess with your mind, and you come out after watching them going, "What the frick did I just watch? I have no idea." And Twin Peaks was like a series, so I can't remember how many episodes they had.
I think two seasons in all.
Yeah,
I think it was maybe 12 episodes. I'm probably, correct me if I'm wrong. Maybe 12 episodes a season.
Yeah,
It was quite a short season. It was back when TV shows didn't go for like 24 episodes of a bloody series, which is just ridiculous.
Yeah, I vaguely remember when I was growing up, watching it with my parents and sort of not understanding it, so it didn't really click in. And then when I was in university, we all decided, because one of our friends, Caroline, was doing her dissertation on. Let me just check this here. Sorry, my bad. She was doing her dissertation on what's it called? On David Lynch himself. And so we thought, you know what, for a bit of research to help her out, we'll watch some David Lynch stuff. So we watched all of Twin Peaks and the movie as well. And this was in the space of like 2 days. I've never felt so surreal in my entire life. I came out of that just kind of going, what is life? What's going on? Where am I? Am I in the Black Lodge? Why is everybody talking forwards? Yeah, and it was really bizarre. And that's just the general feeling I get when I watch David Lynch films. I'm just like, I think I'm meant to get this, or are we meant to get this? Is this sort of him taking the piss out of us? Is he like going, "Hey guys, this means lot. It doesn't mean anything. I'm just sort of fucking with yous."
Right.
I don't know. I think his films mean something in his head, but not necessarily for everyone else. I actually really love early Lynch. I think out of all of his films, probably The Elephant Man is my favorite of his. I think The Elephant Man is just phenomenal.
Right.
But I mean, it's a very straight ahead, normal film. It's carried by the John Hurt and Anthony Hopkins performances, but it's a very straight ahead film. I think it was before he really became the auteur that he is now. I think it was maybe like his mid '80s run of stuff like Blue Velvet, the remake his version of Dune. They were very, although they did have aspects of surrealism, but they were very straight ahead drama pieces. But it was when maybe in the '90s when he really went off a cliff. Post I think Twin Peaks maybe was such a massive cultural success that it was really just they let him run amok with any film that he wanted to make, and stuff like Lost Highway, Naked Lunch.
Lost Highway sort of just completely messed with me. Oh, Sam Lowry says, sounds like modern art to us. And it says, is it just a white canvas or a reflection of the human soul? That's pretty much it. But like Lost Highway, right? It's like you've got one set of people the halfway through it, and then they change. They all just change, and you're just like,
Yeah.
What the hell just happened? And how am I meant to understand this? And I don't know what's going on. I don't think I've understood one of his films. I've just come out going, I don't know what the hell's going on. I still watch them. You know, I kind of like them stylistically, but when it comes to sort of like coming out of the film going, yeah, I understand that, or I have a theory on what's going on, I go out going, haven't got a clue. Don't know. Don't know. That one had
I think that's the point. That's the point. I think, you know, it's meant to be, you know, just fuck with your head, essentially, you know?
Yeah, that's like, that one had boobs in it. That one, you know, that one
always
yes, yeah, that one had boobs in it, so it kind of it got my attention a lot more than the other ones. And and that last, she used to have black hair, but now she's got blonde hair. You know, that's just that's it. What was the name? Oh, that was in Lost Highway. Doesn't she change her hair color? Changes, doesn't it, halfway through it?
Yeah, it does.
And then he changes. Your man. Bloody hell! Bloody Independence Day. Yeah, Pullman. Yeah, he changes halfway through it, doesn't he? He's suddenly just another guy. You know, and no explanation. Just, you know, that's it. And it's just like, what's going on? I have no idea.
I just remember Lost Highway is one that it went completely over me. It was really just, you know, there's a lot of stuff like, you know, the 80s stuff, you know, like Blue Velvet and Wild at Heart. I think Wild at Heart was maybe late 80s, early 90s, but I really loved that stuff. But I remember Lost Highway having such a, you know, everyone going mental about it because it was around that time. I think it had like Nine Inch Nails and Marilyn Manson on the soundtrack. And
yeah.
I think it was actually Marilyn Manson. I think Marilyn Manson actually acted in it, from what I remember. And so everyone was just, I think he was, yeah. But I think it was just everyone went mental because of the fact that they were involved in the soundtrack. And then it just, I remember seeing it and just going, what is this? You know what I mean? But it had Patricia Arquette in it, which is always good for me. So
yeah. Like I said, I don't hate the films or anything. I don't, you know, what's it called? Twin Peaks. Again, I didn't hate it, but I just came out of it just going, I don't know if I'm meant to understand that or not. And I remember having like a conversation with Caroline, who was doing the dissertation. I was like, is there any meaning behind that? And she's like, yeah, well, it sort of means this, and it means this, and it means this. And I was like, does it? Does it really mean that? Or is he literally just pissing with us right now? Is this serious? And I just didn't know.
No, I think again, it probably means something to him in his own head, whether it's, you know, Twin Peaks, whether it's the whole sort of, you know, it's the small town and reaction to a crime or, you know, a murder, and how a small town sort of the intricacies of it in terms of, you know, small town thinking, and, you know, the whole thing about the lumber mill and it being, you know, because there's all these subtle storylines going on behind the main Laura Palmer death, and whether it's like a comment on, you know, American industry dying on its feet and so on. But I think it's just him wanting to be really surreal and just wanting to throw in these. It's very image. You know, he's always been a very visual director, but I think it was maybe just, you know, him just trying to fuck with the confines of normal TV, like, you know, sort of normal TV shows at the time, because there was nothing like it around that time. And that's why it was such a cultural success, and that's why it had such an impact on TV shows subsequent to that. But saying that, I loved it when I was a kid. I watched it around the time and absolutely loved it. You know, especially, first series, and then the midway through the second, whenever they obviously gave away the, you know, who murdered Laura Palmer. But I think I tried to go back and watch it again, which is the first time I've watched it since the original run, quite recently, you know, in advance of the new series.
Yeah.
And I lasted 3 episodes.
Right, okay.
And it was just such a complete, just a mindfuck compared to maybe, you know, my young mind back then. I was just sort of like, yeah, I'll watch this. This is really strange and really different. I think now, I just find it boring. And I don't know whether or not a lot of it's sort of improvised. But I don't know. I just didn't have the same impact for me. I think, to be honest, X-Files kind of came along and pissed all over it in terms of strange, weird TV show with, you know, obviously the sort of what would you say, the special agents going and solving crimes and all, you know. I just
man, that X-Files came at the right time in my life as well, because it was back in the day when, you know, I'm a super skeptic now about everything. So, you know, your standard atheist doesn't believe in anything unless it can be proven right in front of him. Back in the day, I was into ghosts, I was into aliens, I was into all kinds of crazy stuff like that. Me and my friends had a club, and we'd be all like, yeah, and like X-Files, watching X-Files was one of the things that we did. To sort of, you know, we watched that before we did all our research, you know, find aliens and ghosts and stuff like that. We're like, yeah, this is like serious stuff, guys, watching the X-Files.
I always used to love the X-Files. The episode I always remember was the Fiji mermaid. Did you ever see that one?
No, what was that?
It was fantastic. It was like, correct me if I'm wrong, Dave. If there was like they were investigating some murders at a circus, and the circus had a freak show which had several different people in it, including mermaids and all sorts of stuff.
It was actually. Have you ever heard of the Jim Rose Sideshow Circus? It's they would have toured in the sort of 90s with Nine Inch Nails and Marilyn Manson. But they were like a sort of like an original, one of the sort of, you know, alternative freak show, and it was, I think Jim Rose himself is one of the characters that gets killed in it. But that was great episode.
Yeah, it was fantastic, and there was just so many weird and wonderful twists and turns. And then when you find out what was actually causing the problem, and they put a load of little tongue-in-cheek jokes in the end of it, at the end of it as well, it's just fantastic. It was such a creepy episode as well, because I don't know about you guys, but the thing that freaks me out the most is anything that can kind of hide. You know, something small that can get into places, and you just think, what the hell? So that really freaked me out. But it was just brilliant. That was the one that sort of signified X-Files for me.
Sam says on Facebook, I was into Gillian Anderson. I think most teenage boys were, to be honest. And I remember the Leech Monster. I do remember the Leech Monster one, actually. Yeah, that one, and the one with the werewolf. Was there a werewolf one? Which was there was a couple. I think I was in the. There was the werewolf one. I think I was in the second series. There was the Jersey Devil one in the first series as well. Yeah, true. Yeah.
My actual thing, X-Files, it and the West Wing will always be my favorite TV shows. Absolutely adore them. But I think X-Files, it's the perfect example of, you know, the term jumping the shark.
Right.
Because I think, you know, they always state it, you know, with TV shows, it basically outstay their welcome. You know, they just get to a certain stage where they just fall off a cliff. They're just, you know, they really should end the series because, you know, it is going to just die a death and become really boring, and they lose viewership, and it just, you know, quietly fades away. X-Files is the perfect example of that, because the series itself, especially seasons 2 to 5, are just perfection. And then 6 and 7 were decent, and then David Duchovny left, and it just fell off a fucking cliff. And it was
you had the guy from
Robert Patrick, T-1000 came in, and it just it was horrible. But I always remember, like, in talking about favorite episodes, one of my favorite episodes was actually in season 7, and it was one where it's done as if it's that Mulder and Scully are part of a reality TV show, right? But it's Cops. Do you know the TV show Cops?
Yeah.
You know, the bad boys, but in that one, it's essentially, it's done as if it's an episode of Cops, and it's done where this camera, you know, a camera crew are following around policemen who are investigating weird shit happening in this area of LA, and then Mulder and Scully just turn up, and they're being interviewed by the maker, you know, the camera crew.
Oh, okay.
And so they're involved in it. So it just reminds me so much of, you know, the way the sort of all the found footage horror that kind of came up around after that, you know, like
the Blair Witch and
The Last Broadcast, and then right up to Wreck and that sort of stuff, where it's all, you know, found footage. That I always remember seeing that and just going, because they didn't even play the X-Files, like, you know, the start of it, or the, you know, the intro. It actually just started as it was an episode of Cops.
No way.
And I remember sitting. I don't
remember seeing that one.
What the hell is this? It was incredible, absolutely incredible. Trying to see, I can't remember the name of the episode, but yeah.
John Joe says, I need to tell my story about Gillian Anderson at some point. Okay, John Joe, you may tell that story at some point in time. And Sam Laurie says, did anyone else feel that X-Files was the perfect example of a TV series, which is awesome when they are individual films, but the overarching storyline episodes are meh?
Yeah, I think I could agree with that.
Yeah.
Because I quite like the ones where they sort of ended with a bit of mystery, a bit of what really happened there. Did you see the one where the guy he set fire to things, and at the very end of the episode he sets fire to himself?
Yeah.
And he's in like the hospital bed, wrapped up in bandages, and all you can hear from the dogs is, "This is amazing. He's healing so fast. He should be dead by now." And it's just like, "Ooh, what's going on here?" And then it cuts to black, and you think, "Oh, damn it!"
See, I think there's a problem with series, and I think we sort of mentioned earlier that they overstay their welcome, and X-Files was definitely one of those ones that sort of kind of it outplayed itself and thought it could carry on when David Duchovny left, and it was just like, yeah, no. It was like Scrubs and stuff, that carried on a bit too long, and I'm trying to think. Other series, name some other series you think carried on.
The Walking Dead is...
Yeah, The Walking Dead.
End it.
A lot of
Just end
people will hate us for this, but yeah, I have to agree. The Walking Dead is doing my melting at this moment in time. It's formulaic, sort of good start, nothing going on, then good middle, then nothing going on, then sort of good end. Though the last ending was lame. I just didn't sort of...
Oh, I haven't got that far yet.
What else? Say no.
Yeah.
I'll give you another one. Prison Break.
I've never watched Prison Break, actually.
Never seen that one.
I've seen the two guys because they're in the new DC.
Oh yeah,
they're in
Snart.
Yeah, they're in Snart. Snart and Rory is the other guy called. Mr. Rory. They're in that. Though he's got this really weird sort of kind of, he does this really weird. So why would you do that? I am Captain Cold or whatever. What's his name? Is it Captain Cold? Is that his name?
It is Captain Cold. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm Captain Cold, but he doesn't call himself that. I'm Snart, and it's just weird. It's just weird.
Yeah, the other guy's always like, I'm a bit stupid and I fight things with fire. It's like, yeah, we get it now. After however many series we've had of you, we understand your concept.
Yeah.
Did you see, he's terrible in it. Well, he's not terrible. I suppose he's pretty decent at it. But have you seen him in the Resident Evil film that he's in?
No, which one?
I think it's Afterlife. I think he plays Chris Redfield.
No way.
It's Wentworth Miller, and he is fucking abysmal in it. He really is. It's like, I remember when they brought him in, and it was like, oh god, there's a guy from Prison Break. Who's he? And then it was like, oh, I'm Chris Redfield. I was like, no bloody way are you Chris? Not a hope.
John,
terrible.
See, those films, they were... I went into those hoping for Resident Evil, and as soon as the first film finished, I was thinking, that's not the Resident Evil I know. And then you watch the second one and go, this is just getting weird. And then they're on the fifth one now? Is it last chapter or something?
Well, that's funnily enough. Funny as you mentioned that. It's the last one was the last chapter. Obviously, they've just announced they're going to reboot it.
No.
What? Really?
I think over the weekend they're going to reboot it again.
Literally just over the weekend. It's like, that's it. We're starting it again.
Without
camera, get
Mila
Mila,
Jovovich.
2 days.
Without Mila Jovovich, they're going to reboot it. Now, again, if they try to, if they do try to make it closer to the Resident Evil, the game, then yeah, fair play. But again, a franchise outstaying is welcome. It's just how it got 5-6 films and Silent Hill got one very good film and one terrible film.
I hope the terrible one wasn't the one with Sean Bean in it, by the way.
No. I think I actually wrote about it in one of my articles. The Silent Hill one is one of the most underrated horror films of the last 10 years. I absolutely loved it. I think, it would be 10 years.
I haven't seen
loved
it. Not seen it. I played the game, got freaked out and had to stop, and then didn't watch the film. Got to the bit with the guy with the big knife on his head was all like, I gotta get you, and I'm like, I'm done. I'm not playing this game anymore.
No, it's really underrated. It's so close to the source material. You could tell the director really loved the original game and tried to keep it as close to it. Obviously, to try and make it into a film, they're going to take liberties. But if you look past some of that, I really enjoyed it. But That's just really
It's a
like
cracking film.
John Joe says one of the best TV shows I've ever watched was Journeyman. Anybody remember that one?
No, actually.
Journeyman? No, John Joe. We are completely oblivious to Journeyman. Allegedly, it's on Netflix, says Sam. So there we go. We'll watch it on
Try that.
Netflix. Yeah, give it a whirl then. If it's good, we'll give you a kudos and a thumbs up. If it's bad, we will hunt you down.
Well, apparently, I've just actually Googled it, and it's I haven't seen it, but Kevin Bloody McKidd is in it, so that's get a major thumbs up from me. I love Kevin McKidd. I might have to check that out, actually.
Oh yeah, talking about sort of Netflix things and things that are maybe not so good. I'm currently watching Iron Fist at this moment in time, and I'm not hating it, and my cat has decided to jump onto my face. But there we go. Yay! All right, that's the microphone, Jeffrey. Leave it alone. So yeah, I'm watching it, and it isn't the same as any of the other ones. It's a lot slower. But I'm not hating it as it is at this moment in time. I'm only at episode 3. I know a lot of people really, really, really hate that series, but so far, not really got an issue. It's on a par with Luke Cage for me at this moment in time. Okay. Have you seen it yet, either of you?
No, I've not seen it. No, I've not watched any of the Netflix only series. So I've missed Daredevil, Luke Cage, Jessica Jones.
Daredevil's amazing, and Jessica Jones is top. It's the bad guy, your man Tennant. What's his first name? I'm so bad with
David
names.
Tennant.
David Tennant. Yeah, he is such an amazing bad guy. Like, I just thought his character, Mr. Is it Mr. Purple or something, or is that the Purple Man? Is that what he's called?
Mr. Purple.
The Purple Man. Somebody's got somebody.
No. Shit. What is his name?
Yeah, what's his back? It's somebody in the comments.
What is his name?
what is he called?
Save us.
The Kilgrave.
Ah, yes.
Okay.
But he's I don't know why I got Mr. Purple. He likes purple. I think he loves that color. But anyway, but his the fact that his sort of like super villain power was the fact that he can say something and somebody will do it, like literally has to do it. That's his thing. I thought it was amazing, and the fact that he loves Jessica Jones. Purple Man, that's it. Purple Man. I knew there was a purple in there. Purple Man. Thanks, John Joe. Purple Man, aka Kilgrave. Yeah, Kilgrave. He has this thing, and he loves Jessica Jones, and she kind of persuades him at one point in time to try and be a good guy, and he's walking around kind of going, wow, I could do this, and it's brilliant. It's so good. It's good to see David Tennant in that sort of, not being a good guy, being a sort of a bad guy for once, and I really enjoyed that. I thought it was really good.
I think I'll be honest, I haven't seen Iron Fist yet, but I've enjoyed the other 3. I love Daredevil both seasons. I really enjoyed Jessica Jones, and I really enjoyed Luke Cage, but I haven't finished either Jessica Jones or Luke Cage. It's kind of overkill at the minute. There's so many series coming, especially on Netflix. There's so many series coming out. I find it difficult to actually sit down and watch anything as it is. So I'll get sucked into a show and I'll watch 5 or 6 episodes in a row, and then I'll just drift off because someone else will come up. And I've gotten to the stage now where I'm not even starting other series now, like Iron Fist. I've just decided, no, I'm just going to hold off because it's too much time to commit to watching shitloads of TV shows. And
there's a lot of saturation of the superhero thing at the moment as well. It's like there's Arrow, there's Flash, is it Heroes of Tomorrow or Legends of Tomorrow? They've got that one out as well, and as you said, those ones you're talking about, and then aren't they looking to reboot Spider-Man as well? And it's just
there's the new X-Men ones as well. Obviously, Legion was great, but
oh right, yeah, I haven't watched all of Legion. I started watching that, and that was a bit strange.
I loved it. Again, surreal weirdness, but it's fantastic.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know about you guys, but I'm just finding it all a bit overwhelming, and a lot of them, I don't know. I just sort of started to drop them. I mean, the only one I'm really keeping up with at the moment is Flash and the Marvel one, Shield.
Yeah, Shield.
Agents of
Agents of Shield is getting really super good at the minute. I'm really enjoying Agents
Really?
of Shield. Yeah, loving it, man. Really enjoying it.
Yeah, I
Really?
didn't like the first series. Yeah.
Yeah, but no, it gets better. It does get better.
Okay.
It gets a bit more sort of serious and a bit more gritty. There is obviously a bit of comedy in it, as is always. You know, Coulson's sort of got a bit of, but even he gets a bit more serious, sort of like as the series get on. But you know, loving it. I watched The Flash. I watched The Arrow. I watch Legends of Tomorrow, though it really annoys me because I'm a history buff and they bastardize history on a regular basis, and they completely destroy the concept of time travel. They're all like, we can't do anything, or we might change time, as they go back to the American Revolution and use proper guns, and then and it's just like, what the fuck are you doing?
Matt.
What?
It's a fake show.
I know.
It's not real.
Fictional characters,
sharp.
man.
It's not
Fictional characters. But yeah, Bevan, did you see the musical episode of The Flash?
I think so. Oh, it was a crossover with Supergirl, wasn't it?
Yeah, and they
That
were
the one?
singing.
Yeah.
There was lots
that
of
was.
singing.
Do you know? I'm not a fan of musicals in general. I find the facial expressions and things they pull to be kind of like, okay, that's weird. But you know, I actually rather enjoyed that one. It was
Really?
all right.
I was
I
just
got on
a
with
bit. I thought it was a bit strange. I know they're a bit tongue in cheek from time to time, but I kind of don't like it when they go all out, sort of, weird.
Well, because I think the bad guy slash good guy slash that guy, I think he was actually in Glee or something like, or one of those kind of shows.
Yeah, he's
And that
actually.
was
I think he's actually in the comic books and stuff, and that's kind of what he does, from what I believe. But even so, it was just a bit sort of. See, this is why I don't like Supergirl. It's a bit too. It's a bit too camp, a bit too kitsch, and I don't like it. It's sort of, as much as I used to love Lois and Clark back in the 90s when I was growing up, loved that series. Yeah, it kind of reminds me of that, but I don't like that sort of thing now since I've grown up, and I can't watch Supergirl. I've got it on record. I've tried a dabble in and out of it, and it's just too sort of. It just makes me cringe slightly, and I just don't like it. I don't mind when she crosses into sort of, when she's in the Arrow and she's in things like that, because as much as the Arrow is a bit more serious. The Flash is a bit in between, and Supergirl's like completely sort of left field, sort of wacky type thing. But
Yeah.
I just can't watch it, and I want to be able to watch it, but every time I turn it on, I'm just like, yeah, I can't do this. Can't do it.
See, for me, it's always the buy-in element. With that one, the problem with Supergirl was it came at the end of a long list of other superhero things that I've watched and seen, and you just sit there going, okay, so there's the super person, there's the tech guy, there's the funny guy, there's the love interest, there's the girl whose best friend, and they just seem to be formulaic at this stage. Plus, her powers, she seems to be as fast as the Flash in one episode, and then suddenly in another episode, she gets caught out by someone sort of, throwing something at her, and you think, oh, how come you just suddenly gotten so slow? Yeah, just inconsistencies like that. Yeah, I don't know. I'm starting to get superhero burnout, and that's really worrying for me, because I love the Avengers. I love everything Marvel have done so far. I've really, really enjoyed, and I'm worried that I'm going to go see their latest offering, Guardians of the Galaxy 2, and just like sit there and go,
Oh, have you not seen it yet?
I've not seen it yet. I'm really looking forward to going out and having a watch, but
it's good. It is really good.
Worried. I'm really worried.
No, I don't think you need. I don't think you have anything to worry about. It is really good. I personally don't think it's as good as the first one, but it is a good. It is a good one. It's when you had like Avengers, and then you had Avengers: Age of Ultron. Age of Ultron just wasn't on the par with Avengers in my mind, but Guardians of the Galaxy 2, Volume 2. It's on a slightly lower par. It's at the bar, ever so slightly down. It's good. You will enjoy it.
Okay.
Yeah, you will enjoy it.
I don't know.
Hopes
I'm
restored.
yeah. No, it was very good. I don't know. For me, I'm exactly the same as yourself, Bevan. I think I'm getting quite bored of just oversaturation of superhero. Whether it is on TV or whether it's in film. The shows that are really sort of interesting me at the moment, and actually, I'm enjoying watching are still comic book related, but they're not superhero. Like a lot, like I'm really getting it. Well, obviously Legion was one, even though technically they are superheroes, but just the fact that it's told from a totally different, just totally different viewpoint than the standard sort of, even the X-Men. I'm quite enjoying Outcast. I don't know if you've seen that.
No, I've heard it. I've seen it being advertised, but I haven't watched it yet.
It's Robert Kirkman, the guy who obviously writes the Walking Dead. It's his other graphic novel that he writes.
Oh, okay.
It's just around sort of a guy who's plagued by demonic possession. So it has like a real sort of horror edge to it. It's a comic book film, or sorry, comic book, based TV show, but it kind of goes in a more horror direction as opposed to, a typical sort of superhero direction. But it's a bit more like I love the original comic. It's a bit more immediate and a bit more interesting than The Walking Dead. I think Kirkman is a very good writer, but I just think The Walking Dead has just gotten past him. I think he should just
Walking
stop
Dead.
it.
There's an easy way to fix The Walking Dead. A lot of people I know, and I've got friends who are like, "No, it's the best thing ever. Oh my god, how dare you sort of mock The Walking Dead?" I love The Walking Dead when it started. I'm just getting bored of it. What they need to do is they need to reduce the amount of episodes, and they need to basically stop telling story about some of the really random characters just because, the filler. I know they're trying to sort of, get a more rounded story, but they need to sort of maybe have a slightly longer episode, but have sort of more going on, because it gets dull really fast when you're watching it. And like me and Ali will be sitting there, going new Walking Dead's on, and it's just we're like pigeons hitting a food pallet because there's nothing to it. It literally is a case, maybe this episode will be good, and then when it gets boring, we're just sitting on our phones, waiting for it at the end, hoping that maybe something good will happen. And it's just like
We've spoken about it before, about how every season it replicates the previous season. It starts off on, it's a resolution of a cliffhanger and everyone's super excited, and the first episode or two are fantastic. They're really gritty. There's always a couple of surprises. It starts off with a bang, and you start to think, right, maybe the series is going to be different. And then it just falls. This is my buzzword this week, but it falls off a cliff. And I think for the next 4 or 5 episodes, it's all about, the group are either splintered or they're in a new place where they need to try and get a foothold. And there's arguing, and everyone is, doubts, the leadership structure, and he's unsure of himself whether Rick's unsure whether he wants to still be the leader, and he mopes around like an emo for a couple of episodes, and then he's unsure of the mid-season break, and they try to ramp in a bit of a cliffhanger there, and it just gets not very interesting. And then they do it again, they resolve that, and then it just takes a dip, and then they just end it on a massive cliffhanger, and everyone just shits themselves because it's just the best thing ever, and then it just goes in that cycle. And you just get to the point where it's just like, what is the point? I'm sitting in the middle of a season and I'm just bored shitless. I literally had to stop watching it. And I'm bored of the characters. I'm just bored of the characters. I'm bored of Rick. I'm bored of Daryl. I'm bored of everyone. So, no.
Wow.
The thing is, there's so much more, I've read some of the comics, and I know a lot, because I don't care about spoilers and stuff, so I'll read about them and stuff. So I read about all the, what happens after Negan and all the other stuff. And, in comic book wise, it sounds really interesting, but if they're going to carry on doing the same thing over and over and over again, I'm just going to get to the point where I'm just going to go, yeah, I'm out. I just can't watch this anymore. I'm not watching a full series for 3 good episodes, basically. It's not something I'm going to do, so.
The thing that gets me as well is for a series that's held up alongside Game of Thrones, where it's like, oh my god, any character can die. Oh my god, it's so, so harsh that any character can die. Yes, they kill off a lot of characters, but they also drag out so many characters. You think, right, their story has been told. Why not just kill them off and just move on to another character? But they don't. They just drag it out and drag it out. Like you're saying about Negan. In the comics, Negan should have been killed off multiple times, but they just, the fans have such a affiliation for him that they just have to drag him out and drag him out and drag him out and drag him out until he just becomes a parody of himself.
Yeah,
and I have a feeling that's what they're going to do because he's been so successful in the TV show. They'll just do exactly the same, and it'll just get boring.
Matthew Willard says, the boring dead then. And then John Joe says, can I defend The Walking Dead on the next podcast? Well, John Joe, you could defend The Walking Dead on the next podcast, but this is the third podcast we've had where you've been like, yeah, I'll be on the next podcast. And you had to do it. John Joe's a new guy, and he's yet to be on one of our podcasts, so it'll be interesting to see. But yes, by all means, you can defend away. Don't know how far you'll get, but
can I make a suggestion? Can I make a suggestion of two shows or two possible comic books that could be turned into fantastic TV shows but haven't as yet? Right, first one is Judge Dredd. Now, obviously, it's just been announced now. The whole Judge Dredd Mega City 1, awesome. Can't wait for that. Hopefully, Carl Urban is cast.
Yes,
that would be amazing.
Yes.
Dredd is just phenomenal. The second one, I would fucking kill to see a World War Z miniseries.
Oh, yes.
Do you know what? I wasn't a massive fan of the book.
Really?
Yeah. Do you know what it was? Do you know what it was? I read the book, and it's obviously in a diary. Well, not in a diary. He's like talking to different people that have been involved in these things. So somebody who's in the Battle of Yonkers and all that stuff. I just got the impression when I read them as people, in my mind, I'm putting voices to these people. It just seemed the way he wrote them, they were the same person in a way, and it just didn't click with me. I read it and I was like, I wasn't that interested.
I'm going to do two things, Matt. Sorry, Bevan. Sorry. I'm going to do one thing, Matt. I'm going to send you a link to. There's an incredible audiobook version of World War Z. It is amazing, absolutely amazing. There's people like Mark Hamill. There's a voice in it. I'll send you a link to that, and what you're saying about the different characters and the different sort of sections. Yeah, it's great. Sorry, Brendan, work away.
That's right. No, I was just about to say you're crazy.
Yeah, I thought I'd enjoy it, but I just I read it and I didn't hate it, but it wasn't one I thought. I just kind of went meh. Afterwards, it wasn't that sort of. That
I was really hoping the movie itself would be a bit like The Office crossed with The Walking Dead. You got zombies everywhere, and it keeps flicking to sort of like the different characters and everything. I mean, it was just Brad Pitt with zombies, and then a story that was. I don't think that didn't even come up in the book, I'm sure, and it was just very strange. But it's that style, isn't it? It's that there's a big license. We've got the name for the license, right? Let's slap something on there that's going to entertain people, but not stick true to the. I was gutted.
But do you not think the way that the book is structured, it would be perfect for a miniseries?
Yes,
because you could
totally.
have every episode can be. I know you're saying, Matt, you didn't really appreciate the way that each chapter is its own self-sufficient, story. But imagine that every single week you have one actor who's linking it, as in, as what was originally planned. It was going to be Brad Pitt as the main character going around and interviewing these different people involved in the overall war against the zombies. And every episode you could have a different section. And there's so many fantastic small stories within that book. There's the whole thing about the Japanese submarine. There's the section about the catacombs under Paris and having to clear out the zombies from there, which would be one of the most incredible action, zombie action sections you would probably ever have.
That'd be terrifying. Yeah.
There's a section about the dogs, which is just heartbreaking. It's like the section about the guy who's like a dog handler and how he used to have the dogs who would track the Walking Dead and lure them out of buildings so they could be killed, and his dogs being killed off and how heartbroken he was about it. Just different small individual stories like that, which would just be so much more interesting than just fucking Brad Pitt running around, just trying to solve Walking Dead. He goes to Israel and he goes to these bloody countries, and where does he end up? He ends up in a workshop in Scotland, and that's where you get the cure. Well done. Mate.
Just the whole. They can smell illness. What the fuck? It's just bullshit.
Yeah.
I got a cold. I'm fine. I'll be fine. I got the sniffles. They're gonna leave me alone. It'll be okay. Dicks. Oh God.
Yeah, it wasn't a film. I didn't watch it, so I don't know.
You
But-
should. It is actually on Netflix. You know what? It's funny and it is actually. It's a shit film, but it's actually very watchable.
Yeah, that was the exact word I was going to use. Was watchable. It's entertaining for everything that goes on, but just those one or two big plot holes that you just think, oh, I forgot. I mean, the bit where the zombies are all sort of piling up outside the wall, that genuinely had me thinking, Jesus, Mary and Joseph, that's pretty terrifying.
I was actually just about to say that. I was actually just about to mention that bit. It's like the whole. The only reason why they start piling up is because someone decides to like get on loudspeaker and do karaoke.
Oh yeah, because they're leading a prayer or something, weren't they?
They're leading like a prayer. Well, yeah, they're leading a prayer and singing, and that apparently attracts all these thousands of zombies that were outside and just not doing anything. And then suddenly someone starts singing over a loudspeaker, and they immediately start like piling up like ants. Just nonsense.
Let the bodies hit the floor. Let the bodies hit the floor.
That would have actually made it more interesting. It had like a dodgy new metal sound.
Yeah.
Can you imagine just screaming off the top of the ramparts down at the crowd of zombies?
Yeah.
That'd be so cool.
Yeah. Talking about dodgy new metal, Dave, we were in Satan's Hollow on Saturday for reasons basically, and it seems that it's kind of gone back in full circle. So when last time we probably went, it had all the sort of kind of emo and stuff in the main room, and the metal and the sort of good stuff was sort of relegated to the small room. It's now the metal and the good stuff seems to be in the main room, and the emo and stuff's being sort of kind of relegated to the small room. So it was actually pretty good.
Yeah, sure. Metal's making a comeback apparently. So.
Yeah. Matthew Woolen says World War Z is delegated to the realm of one of those films where dad falls asleep watching Half Drunk at Christmas.
Brilliant.
I agree.
Yeah. It's kind of like Ben-Hur then. So that's one of those films that's always on at Christmas, and everybody sort of starts watching and then falls asleep halfway through, and then wakes up when he goes, "You truly are the Son of God."
Or what else? Like The Great Escape. The Great Escape, or Skip the Victory. That's my other favorite.
Yeah, Brett. Yeah,
Always on
I
Christmas.
gotta love good war film. Yeah. Right. Okay. So, quickly moving on. Bevan,
Any other news?
you've got the UK Games Expo coming up.
Yay!
And I'm probably going to be there as well, with the guys from Geek and Sun. So, are you there with your Tinkerbot games, guys?
I am, yeah. We've got a bigger stall this year, so we're going to be pimping out Ghostal as much as possible, doing demos, and hopefully showing off some new stuff as well. We got a new project called Project Siphon. It's this sort of worker placement card game, hex game, everything kind of game, which is it's sort of where Ghostal's sort of very family orientated. We're going with Project Siphon's going to be a lot more sort of gamery. Right. So yeah, that's the plan. And then lots of crazy stuff as well.
And it's the Saturday. Well, no, actually, it's a couple of days, isn't it? It's the Friday, Saturday, and the Sunday. I'm because I've got no days off. I'm probably just going to go down the Saturday and the Sunday. So the Saturday, I'm going to come down and chill with the guys from Geek and Sun, do some Geek Pride stuff, play some games with them and stuff. But on the Sunday, I think I might rock up in my Star Wars armor. Just cause, yeah, you know what? I might do my first cosplay in public, in front of people, just
whilst wearing a helmet.
Whilst wearing a helmet, I need to get myself a helmet. Actually, there you go.
Oh,
yeah, I don't have a helmet. I just got the armor.
Right, okay.
I made the armor and I got the seal, but I haven't got like an Imperial Knight helmet. Yeah, so I might have to make one of those quickly, or buy one basically. But yeah, I'm looking forward to that. It's going to be my first Games Expo, so yeah.
It's just getting bigger and bigger every year, so you're actually coming in at a good time. It's now starting to rival the shows over in America. I mean, it's nowhere near as big as the German. There's a German show called Essen, the Essen Spiel.
Yeah.
And that's no Spieletage. Anyway, it's huge. It's freaking massive. And it's the UK Games Expo is not quite at that level yet, but it is starting to catch up, and people are starting to notice. You're starting to see Chinese companies coming over because a lot of manufacturing is done in China. We're seeing markets from all over the place: America, Germany, France, Italy. It's just, and it's getting massive.
How does that work, by the way? Because obviously, did you get things sort of not developed, made in China?
We did. I mean, we made our prototypes in America. There's a website in America called gamecrafter.com, which will allow you to do sort of bespoke ones.
Yeah.
So we made 10 copies, and that's we were able to use those for sort of promotional work and demoing and things like that. But the problem with the Game Crafter is that they have specific sizes that you have to use. So if you want a quad fold board, you have to have a box of a certain size. So then you have to rescale all your artwork so that it matches up to what they've got.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you end up with these sort of weird black bands around everything. And then, we spoke to a Chinese manufacturer called Wingo, and they're kind of like number two Chinese manufacturer behind Panda. And you sort of correspond through email and present the files in the format that they want. They'll then send you a mock-up copy, a single copy that looks just like what the final game's going to look like.
Yeah.
And that's like your last chance then, and then they'll just make 1,000 of them and send them over, send them wherever you want.
Is it relatively stress-free?
No. So, it was definitely sort of a learning process. I mean, there's a lot of things you don't find out until you get there. I mean, I had no idea about graphic design, so when they started talking about RGBs and CYMKs and sort of coloration like that, I had no idea. And then there was getting the sizes correct. There was making sure that we had the wordings correct. There was one point where we submitted the quote and we said, we want the ghost figurines to be these 3D model things that look like the ones that we've got in the final version. And they sent back an email saying, would you consider these? And they were the same pawns you'd get in like the Game of Life or something like that. So had nothing to do with ghosts whatsoever. So we had those kind of arguments, and there's fees for everything. So you'll find out that there's a fee for changing a file after you've sent the original file. There's a fee for having it palletized. There's a fee for having it shipped to X, Y, and Z locations. Then there's a fee for customs, obviously. And I mean, a lot of that's outside of the manufacturer's remit, but there's just money draining away all the time. So yeah.
So basically, for all you budding Kickstarters out there, for people who want to start their own games, make sure you do your research beforehand. Yeah. Or speak to someone that's done it before. Seriously, if at the end of this one, if you want to contact me and speak to me a little, low key on it about it, I'm more than happy to go through whatever we've experienced with it. I wouldn't steer anybody away from that experience. I think it was really useful. It was a good learning experience, but just make sure that you're ready for all the weird little wonderful oddities that come up. John Joe has said Ultra Street Fighter 2 is out on Switch, or out on Friday. Here's a question: how many times can you release the same game?
Oh,
a lot. A lot, it seems, because there's Street Fighter 5 now, I think, and then Street Fighter 2 got re-released about a bazillion times. I guess if Nintendo tend to do a sort of thing of, if it's not broken, they don't fix it and they just carry on. I would kind of agree with that, but then there are things like Zelda and the Mario games where they've trotted out hundreds of Mario games. There's Mario games for tennis, there's Mario games for where he's like a flat piece of paper, but then they come up with real gems like Mario Galaxies, which was like, I think, the first proper 3D physics one that where they had those, the ball planet things. Oh, okay.
Which I thought was fantastic. I mean, obviously they had Mario 64 that was all 3D, I think, as well. But yeah, just occasionally there will be absolute gems come out of what you would think is the same idea, but they're completely different implementations. So is he talking about that kind of thing, or is he talking more along the lines of, say, Dark Souls, which has got its third? There was the third Dark Souls game.
Sequels, isn't it?
Yeah, but the mechanics, how different are the mechanics from one to the next? And then they do sort of the deluxe version, and then they re-release it with all the DLC attached, or with a special skin that you can only get if you buy this particular version of it, like the collector's edition, for example.
That really winds me up. really grinds my gears.
Grinds my gearies.
Exactly. I don't know. I've no issue with. I mean, something like Street Fighter. You know, it's the name. You know, that they can release as many copies or as many editions as they want, and people will buy it based on its name. Same with Mario. Same with Zelda. I mean, geez, don't even get me started on the Switch. But like, I really hate this whole notion now about, you know, it used to always be when you bought a game, there would always be a normal edition and a special edition, and the special edition would be like a, you know, like a digipack version with artwork and a poster and a special DVD that would tell the making of the game and like, or a figurine or something like that, and it was worthwhile actually buying it. Whereas now you get your standard edition, you get your special edition, which in most cases, like I looked at Destiny 2, it's like a gun, a fucking virtual gun, or a skin for a virtual gun, and that's an extra £10 on top of what you would pay for the normal game. And then there's a collector's edition, which gets you you know, a figurine or something like that, and then there's an ultra collector's edition, which you get all of the, you know, you get a figurine and a couple of skins and shit like that, and then you have to still buy your season pass. It's like, for fuck's sake, just release the game. I don't see it, it's this whole monetary, you know, it's just clamoring for money. It's, you know, you look at Street Fighter as a perfect example. They released Street Fighter 5 half finished, and they actually then had to fix it after the game had already been released and it had been shipped, because there were a lot of issues, and they had to try, like, over the space of a couple of weeks, they actually had to fix the normal single player part of the game because they spent so much time on the multiplayer, and you know, people, it was like a half finished game, and you see that more and more now. A big one for me was oh fucking hell, what do you call it, the space exploration one.
No Man's Sky.
No Man's Sky, yeah,
Yes.
which I was so excited for. Like, I pre-ordered it months before, spent a lot of time watching videos on it, and was like so taken in by the whole premise, being a science geek, and then I played it, and it was just, fuck me, I'm bored. Just immediately within like a day of playing it. Whereas now that they've had the time to spend, you know, they've been able to, you know, put a lot more into it, and they've redesigned the game. Apparently the game now is fantastic, but that's a game almost a year after it's been released. Why not?
That's just the problem with games in general these days, isn't it? They know they can get away with people just buying DLC and doing it half-arsed. It's like, it's extra development time for them. You know, it seems to be more of a thing now. Steam especially are doing quite a lot of PC games are doing this quite a lot now, where they release early, but they say this is still a beta game and we're still developing it, and people will buy it and help them develop it. So in certain aspects I think it's a good thing, but I think in certain aspects the companies use it as a way of just printing money, basically.
Well, I think that some of it also comes down to sort of play testing. You can't get it's to use sort of a board game analogy. What you would do is you'd sort of design the game, play test it with your friends. If you get a good game, you then blind play test it with a few groups to check if it's okay, and then eventually, sort of 6 months later, you'd release it. And in that first month, you will get thousands of games played across the world if you've got enough copies, and that's the most rigorous form of playtesting that you can actually do, because then you'll suddenly start getting people talking about, you know, rules inconsistencies or components that don't quite work, or how does this particular interaction happen, because you won't be able to do all that kind of testing in-house. The studio just won't be able to pick apart every single little thing. It's like one, for example, I'm playing at the moment, Witcher 3. It's glitchy as fuck, right?
Yeah.
But it's still amazing. It's still amazing.
It's still a great game.
They're making a series
situations...
on Netflix for that.
Yes. Oh man, that looks cool. Yeah, that does look good. Do we know who's cast for the lead? Or
Julian Assange.
What?
Has anyone? Oh, honestly, has anyone seen that meme? I'll post it. I'll post it on the group tonight after we finish the podcast. It's a photo of Julian Assange now. You know, he's still stuck in his bloody in his Ecuadorian embassy, and there's a photo of him doing an interview, and he has like the long grey hair and it's tied back, and I applaud whoever did this, but they took that photo and put it next to the photo of Geralt, and it was like Geralt has just cleaned the Ecuadorian embassy out of all of the neckers, all of the wraiths, and all of the wraiths and all of the werewolves. Now he's back to politicking.
Brilliant.
Oh
Fantastic.
man, brilliant.
But yeah, going back to the original sort of point, there is they probably get thousands of play hours out of that. They're releasing their beta version in inverted commas, and that's when they can start fixing it. If it works the first time, great. They've just started making tons of money. But if it's buggy as hell and it's got a good idea behind it and they're willing to fight for that, then yeah, they can just start, as you said, charging people more to fix the game that should have been okay to begin with.
I'll actually do one thing which I thought I'd never do. I'm going to give EA some credit.
What?
Because if you look at what EA do now with a lot of their bigger budget games, especially their multiplayer games, like Star Wars Battlefront and Battlefield 1, they release the multiplayer beta a couple of months before release for a weekend. And I know a lot of other companies do it as well, but they release it en masse, and I think through that's a good idea, because you're able to identify a lot of the issues.
Battlefront though, did it?
But there's a whole story behind that. You can tell because now Battlefront 2 is coming out, and it's all there is a first player. There's a single player game, and it looks really good. Obviously, what's happened is they've got the license. DICE got the license, and they've been told by EA, get a game out right now. So they've rushed out the multiplayer aspect of it, and that's been the first game. But then the second game, they've had now the time to spend a lot more, to put a lot of work into the single player game, and that's what part 2 is.
I don't see, because DICE, I've played all the Battlefield games since Battlefield 1942. Back, that one, the first one.
Right, how old are you?
Yeah, since Battlefield 1942, I've played them all. My family, me, my brother, my dad, we had our own clan. Shout out to the OAPs, the overage players. That's our clan.
Awesome.
And we played the Battlefield games on the PC. So we've got a lot of love for DICE. But they've never had, for DICE, multiplayer was their thing. The campaigns were always a bit meh. We're not really that interested. It was always about the team play that you could do. It was different than Call of Duty and things like that because you had to be team orientated. You had to fight together to sort of gain things, and you got points for defending positions and stuff. And that's what annoyed me about Battlefront, because even if there was no single player campaign, them as a company who have been making multiplayer games for as long as they have should have known better. And I think there's something else that's happened in the background, and they've said they've had restrictions or something like that, and it was such a letdown. It was literally, I played it, I love Star Wars, and I played it and I went, I'm bored, I don't really want to play this anymore. I just didn't.
Can I just say, Sam Lowry on our Facebook has made a really, really great point there. He mentioned that the second does look better and that the PS2 games were amazing. That's exactly the point I was going to make. The reason why people were so pissed off at the DICE version of Battlefront was because they have such, they love such a great memories of the first two games when they were on the PS2. Yes, the multiplayer was decent. It was on a LAN more than anything, but you still had stuff like the Conquest mode, which was multiplayer-esque missions, but they would lead or they would contribute to an overall single-player story. So essentially, you would be doing these small skirmishes, which led to an overall you trying to take over the galaxy. So there was a lot of people still love that, and people were disappointed because they expected the new version to replicate that only on a PS4 with much better graphics, and that's not what they got. They basically just got a very basic multiplayer game.
Yeah. Well, we'll see. Hopefully, Battlefront 2 will be better. We'll have to wait and see, I guess. I'm also not a fan of them bringing out games so quickly after other ones. Like they've done this with the Total War Warhammer one. They've got the release of the second one coming out very soon, and it's just like it literally just came out last year. So that's annoying.
So is it going to be a completely separate game, or is it more
They've
of the
added
same?
more races and stuff, like the lizard men and and things like that. And it's new areas as well, so I'm not sure if it'll add on to the new one or not. I hope so, but it's called Total War Warhammer 2, so it is a sequel.
Now it's personal.
Yeah. So we'll see. I kind of hope they start going back. They go back to some of the history games. So there's a lot of. They say that the new history game they do will be one they've never done before. So it should be interesting where they go with that. I've no idea where they'll go with it. I hope it's an interesting time period, but we'll see. We'll see what happens.
Hopefully it's better than Call of Duty going back to World War II.
Yeah, Call of Duty going back to World War II. That's that's going to be interesting. What was the first World War II first-person shooter? What was it called? The one where you stormed the beaches of Normandy.
Medal of Honor.
Medal of Honor, wasn't it? That was it. Yeah, Medal.
Not sure if it was the first, but I always remember that. I always remember Medal of Honor and what do you call the other one? It was Call of Duty, and then there was the other one. It was like a squad. Was it Band of Heroes or something like that? I know it's not bloody Band of Brothers.
Company of Heroes. Company of
Heroes. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Sam says the Warhammer games, they are separate games but compatible. Said it was a trilogy, but they will be interlocking. So I suppose that's not. It's basically an add-on to the game.
Why not just release that as a digital release and just have it added on to the original game? You know, it's
like DLC. Yeah. Well, there you go. I don't know. Maybe they're just trying to create a buzz. Sort of. You know, I don't care because I'm happy with Games Workshop at this moment in time. They're doing some really awesome stuff. They've got some really good PR going on at the minute. New 8th edition coming out, all these new games coming out and stuff, and yeah.
See, there you go. That's a perfect example of re-releasing the same game over and over again.
Yes, yeah. Games Workshop have been doing that for years, but in their defence. And they're getting a lot of people kicking off at this moment in time about it. Some of my friends, some of us are like, yeah, I'm looking forward to see what's going on, but some of my friends are very upset that the new 8th edition is literally going to change. The rules are going to be completely different than what they are now. There's a lot of new things that they don't like. They fear change and stuff, and there's already been some serious butthurt about it and going, I don't want it to be like this, and I want it to be like the old days, and it's just like, just wait for it to come out, see what happens. I'm looking forward to it, to be honest. So, we'll see what happens and stuff, but yeah, there'll probably be at some point in time some streams of this going on our awesome table over here, but yeah, that's coming out in June, I believe, so we'll see what happens.
Cool.
Yeah. Did you ever play sort of games like that, Bevan? Were you always sort of just like a board game type person, or did you play tabletop stuff at all?
Yeah, I mean, my first love was video gaming. I remember sort of cycling into town sweatily, grabbing my first ever PlayStation. That was just amazing. And then cycling home and realizing we've got Final Fantasy VII and no memory card. So that was a couple of hours wasted.
Oh, no.
And then doing it the same day, next day, same again, sweaty, cycling into town, picking up the stuff. No, I mean, like I said, video gaming was my first love. I've always had a soft spot for video games. My sort of love of it has changed. I'm more of an action RPG as opposed to the JRPGs that I used to love back in the day. Things like Zelda, they're some of my favorites. But I'm not really into the very heavy games, and especially since becoming a father, games that have a lot to them are just either I've got to say this is the game I'm going to play for the next 6 months and nothing else, or I've just got to go with something short and sweet. I mean, like Overwatch took over my life for about 6 months because I could just pop in, pop out. I didn't have to do the competitive if I didn't want to. And it's one of those great games where they're constantly releasing extra content for it, like new characters, new maps, but they're not charging you any more for it. They're getting all their money through subscriptions from PlayStation, I suppose, from the Sony network, and from people optionally buying in for these new skin packs and things, which have absolutely no gameplay effect whatsoever, unless you're sexy Junkrat, in which case you can hide in bushes, but that's a different story.
Is that the Blizzard one, Overwatch?
That's the Blizzard one, yeah.
Yeah. Because what was the other one? There was two of them.
I think it was Heroes of the Storm. Is there other one that's big at the moment?
Bullet someone, wasn't it?
No. There was it wasn't a Blizzard game. There was two of them that came out.
Yeah, but it was Bullet.
Oh, Paladins.
No. Overwatch. There were two first-person shooters that sort of came out about the same time, and they were basically the same game but by different companies.
Battleborn. Was that the one?
Battleborn, yes, Battleborn. That was
yeah.
it. Don't hear anything about that usually. No, it's all about Overwatch.
I don't know why that is. Apparently, the Battleborn was a cracking game, and I know that. Is it Mr. Mike Orvis? He's a bit of a champion. Is it Paladins?
Yes, he does like his Paladins, does Mike Orvis. But Mike Orvis likes really random games. He sits there and plays some like little mini anime type game thing for ages, and he streams it on his channel, which I've actually watched randomly. But yeah,
I have to give a shout out to one of my friends, Pete. Pete is we have like a little Facebook group. Extra to Geek Pride, which is basically just about a couple of friends in Northern Ireland and our adventures in terrible games. And he is the king of terrible games. He works for the BBC, and in his spare time, he will buy like 30p games from Steam and then write these amazing reviews. I'm actually hoping with the podcast that I'm hopefully starting quite soon around terrible films, he's going to be involved in it, but. He has a real affinity for, the sort of, what do you call those games? The, like farming simulator or truck simulator.
No way.
And he'll write
simulator.
He'll write these amazing reviews of like him, like trucking from like Amsterdam to Northern Ireland, and like they're real time. And like,
oh my word!
It's and then even it was like an old flight simulator was the one that he found that it was literally like 5p on Steam. And the joke he took all these screenshots, and the joke was, I got this flying simulator. Did I fly to the Costa del Sol? Did I go to, we're saying Mauritius? No, I went around Newton Ards, my light aircraft. He is just amazing, absolutely amazing. But yeah, like terrible games, but oh fucking hell, they're hilarious.
Brilliant.
Amazing.
Okay, cool. All right, so we've had about an hour and 10 minutes or so we should probably start to wrap up. Has anybody got anything else they want to talk about before we leave?
Nope.
Bev?
I'm good.
Yeah. Don't all talk at once. Generally we're all like, yeah, I want to say this, and then it goes on for another half an hour, but yeah, fine. If
I just announced I'm going to be at QCon, which is the Queen's Comic-Con, but it's like a Comic-Con, Anime Con, Gaming Con, which is happening in Queen's University from the 16th to the 18th of June. I'm going to be there representing Geek Pride, just taking a lot of photos, interviewing people, doing some features for the site. So if anyone is going to be in the Belfast area around that time, I would say go to QCon. It is one of the best conventions in UK at the moment. It's absolutely fantastic.
And what date is that again?
It's the 16th to the 18th of June.
Cool.
At Queen's University.
Cool. And myself and Bevan will be at the UK Games Expo. Bevan with his gaming company, Tinkerbot Games, and myself with Geek Pride, hanging out with the guys from Geek and Sun. And that is on the 4th of June?
2nd, 3rd, and 4th.
2nd, 3rd, and 4th of June, and that's in the NEC in Birmingham. So yeah, so if you're anywhere around Queen's University on the 16th of June, is it, Dave?
Yep, 16th to 18th.
16th to the 18th of June, then hunt down Dave, have a word with him, have a chat with him. If you're in Birmingham on the 2nd, 3rd, or 4th of June, then come and talk to myself and Mr. XCOM, Bevan Clatworthy.
Yay.
And right. Anyway, so we're going to end it there then, chaps. Didn't get to talk about what we do with all the money we're going to win in the lottery tomorrow, but we can leave that for another time when we win, and we can tell everybody what we're spending our £90 million on, or whatever it is.
90 million?
I think it's
90 million.
It's like 90 million. Yeah, I think there's two of them, two rollovers at the minute. It's like 90 odd million on the Euros, and it's like 20 odd million on the normal one. So
give me a million, Jesus.
I just a couple of mil. I'll the lottery gods, if you're listening, A couple of mil. I'd do some good with that.
It's like to pay a mortgage and pay for my car. That would do nicely. That's all I think.
I was about to say,
Give me
yeah.
enough for that.
It doesn't
Claim a
matter how
mortgage,
much.
I'd be happy.
The thing is, you say that we were talking about this on Saturday when we were out drinking. You can sit there and you can kind of go, if I just had this amount of money, I'd be happy. But I remember when I was younger, and I got my first big pay rise. I was like 18 grand a year. When I was like, I had a bit of responsibility. I was like, wow, I've got 18 grand a year. This is amazing. And I remember sitting there kind of being, wow, if only I could get like 20 grand or something like that, I'd be super happy with that. And then it's like, I've got a lot more. And I'm just like, yeah, I need way more than this. You just find ways of spending it. And I'm pretty sure if you won the lottery, you'll be like, oh man, I wish I didn't have 90 million. I wish I had 190 million. I could do so much more with 190 million.
Well, no offense, but you're probably going to need at least a couple of million. The way that the Conservative Party are getting on at the moment. Sorry, I'm going to have to get political, but the way that the dementia death tax.
Far.
I know, no Rick and Morty references, and no politics till the end. Oh,
but we're all going to be broke.
Oh, sorry, say again.
We're all going to be broke.
We're going to be broke. See, the thing that we used to do when we talked about the whole if I won the lottery doing this kind of thing was how much you need to live off so that you can live comfortably without actually having to work ever again. And that number just seems to be going up and up every year. It's just like, I definitely need 10
literally
million.
need a million in the bank to live off the interest, and then you could sort of kind of blow the other million, but it would go pretty quickly because house prices are pretty heavy at the minute, and everything else you blow through that pretty. I could blow through $1 million in a weekend. I reckon I could Brewster's Millions that stuff. I could
be a broken man, but
I would literally. I'd be a happy but broken man.
Are you gonna go to Satan's Hollow and make it rain?
Yeah, woo, yeah, woo. No, I think Louise would probably make me spend a lot on horses or something similar. Oh, I went to a horse show. I was told, this is completely random, but I went to a horse show at the weekend. I was told because she painted a miniature, she painted a model, and she engaged in my geekery, so I had to show reciprocation, and I had to go to a horse show. And I went with my camera, so I thought I'll take some photographs. And it was like, had to get up at 9 o'clock in the morning to be there. And then it took us like 2 hours to drive there. And then there was about 2 hours of faffing around with sort of plaiting her daughter's hair, making sure she looked okay to be on the horse, and making sure that the pony was all dressed. And then 15 minutes of horsing around, and then 2 hours drive home. That was it. And it was just like the whole, and she's like, oh, did you enjoy it? Did you enjoy it? And I was like, yeah, it was good. But, it was like literally 5 hours, 6 hours worth of nothingness and driving and other stuff for 15 minutes of watching your daughter walk around in a circle on a horse.
Did you complain? Did you actually complain?
No, I didn't. I didn't complain. I did sort of in a way enjoy it because I got to take some photographs and stuff, and yeah, it was good. But I've told her I don't think it's something I would make a regular effort to go to unless it was close by, because like she does this all the time. She goes to all these conventions, like it's not conventions, horse shows throughout the country all the time, like up and down the country, and she will get up at 3 a.m. and travel 5 hours just for her daughter to sort of be in a horse for about 15 minutes and then drive back again. It's just like, yeah, I can't do that. I couldn't do it, man. But yeah.
But just think, if you go to that every once in a while, that gives you free license for all of your geekery.
You'd think that, David. You would think that, but I don't think that's how she works, to be honest. I think it's like, yeah, you do this, and then you could totally have super brownie points, and yeah, I don't think that'll work.
Brownie points, so hard to earn, so easy to lose.
Yeah, it's so true. That's a good saying, Bevan. It's so true. It's like I'm super gonna get some brownie points here.
I totally lucked out. I have to say, I totally lucked out with Jade, because Jade being into like cosplaying and stuff, and me into cosplay photography now around for the conventions. I have lucked out. I have to say, it's been great.
Daniel DeLurgy says, you have your convention, she has her horse show. Perfect harmony. It is true, Daniel. In her defense, in our defense, she has her things she does, I have my things I do, and I think that's a good sort of stable way to have a relationship. If you've got your own hobbies, if you've got a girlfriend or a boyfriend with no hobbies, who literally just want to live in your pocket all the time, that shit's not going to fly. That shit's not going to work. That's Matt's sort of marriage and girlfriend-boyfriend relationship advice for you. You need hobbies. You both need hobbies. If you don't have hobbies, then that shit's not going to work, because you're just literally going to you're going to really hate each other at the end of it. You need to be able to do your own thing, and I think that's a good thing. So yeah, I'm glad she's got hobbies. That works for me perfectly. Anyway, on that
bombshell
note, I will.
Right. Did you do that like a horse deliberately, or was that just a joke? Or...
that was me trying to do. I was thinking I could do like a neigh joke, but then I was like, oh no, it doesn't sound on that note. But yeah.
Quit horsing around.
No more. I'll stop horsing around. I'm trying to think of other horse puns now.
Well, we've been talking for a while. I am quite horse.
Hey.
Do you need to trot off soon?
Hey,
there it is. Well done.
Very good, very good. All right, okay. So we're going to leave you here, ladies and gentlemen, as we've been rabbiting on for about an hour and a half now. But thank you very much for everybody who has turned up on the live streams, to ask us questions and banter away with us. That's quite enjoyable. Adds a bit more to the podcast. For all of you who are listening to this not live, then next time, check us out live. We're on Twitch, we're on YouTube, and we are on Facebook as well. So thanks a lot, everybody. I have been Matt Geary. Oh, the silence. You had that sort of, oh no, who's going to go first?
I have been David Foy.
I've been Bevan XCOM, clap with the XCOM clap.
Guy. Man.
That guy.
Thanks a lot, everybody. I'll see you later.